Hello, this is Jay here again from Port St. Lucie, Florida. And right here we are going to explain to you the two things that we can do in order for us to do the business and get some tax benefits out of them. Now, there are a few things or a few items that we can deduct from the business. And there is the second part of the business, which is the taxes we are going to be paying for doing business. So one thing is what can we deduct from the business, and then how much money we're going to pay from doing business. So let's say, for example, in the first column, if you see it there, we have the HBA, which means Home Based Academy. We have the below, it would say phone, telephone bill. We can deduct up to 90% of the phone bill. We also have the rent, and we can deduct 1/8 of the rent or the mortgage. And then we have the utilities. We can deduct up to 20% on each one of them. Now, let's just start with the first one, which is the HBA. We can deduct, to be conservative, we can deduct 50% out of that business. In many cases, it could be like 60, 75, even 80%, and sometimes 100% deductible. But let's say a little bit conservative. So let's deduct 50% out of the $160 that you will pay by joining our business as a premium, okay? So if we deduct the 50% out of the $160 that you can see there, that will be, the 50% will be $80. And if we, let's say we pay 20% for doing business, that will be the taxes that we'll be paying for doing business. 20% of the $80 will be $16 with it will say cash, which is the money the government is going to give us back. Let's say the second item, which is the phone bill, we can deduct up to 90% of that bill. So let's say, as a conservative business, we spend $60 a month on the telephone bill. Well, 90% of the 60% will be $54, as you can see it right there. And if we pay as a business 20%, let's say 20% of 54 will be $10.80, but let's say $10. Now the next item will be the rent or mortgage, which we can pay up to 1/8 of the bill. And let's say we pay like $1,200 a month in the rent or mortgage, to be conservative. Now 1/8 of $1,200 will be $150. That's what we can deduct from the rent or the mortgage. And if we apply the 20%, we're going to be paying with the business, 20% of $150 will be $30 that the government is going to give back to us. And let's say the utilities, which is the electricity, the cable, the internet, the water, and some other things. Let's say we spend $250 a month. The government will allow us to deduct 20% of $250. That will be $50 deductible that we got it from the government. Now, if we had to pay the 20% that we pay for doing business to the government, that will be $10. That's what the government is going to give us every single month. So if we add like the $16, the $10.80, the $30, and the $10 last for the utilities, all together will add up to $66 per month that the government will give us just for doing business. Okay, please watch the next video. Thank you.